Hello, and welcome to Capes of Kamloops. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle.
I'm Zach.
And today we are joined by Mitch Steck, who is going to be letting us know a little bit about how well represented or not well represented the police force is in Super Troopers. So thank you very much, Mitch, for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Oh, good. Yeah. So our regular viewers will notice that this is a little bit of a different setup. Thankfully, Mitch, you've been able to accommodate. You live in a different city now, so you know it's really good of you to be able to join us online and make this technology work. I know actually our side of the technology has been a bit weird today. But we're really glad to be sitting down with you, so thank you so much.
Cool.
Perfect. Zach,
The first question has to be, what did you think of Super Troopers?
Honestly, I couldn't get through it. I got to the point where I think he's taking the car for the run down the road, and that was it. I said enough.
Yeah.
The seized vehicle, whatever it was.
Yeah. Was it
that was it for me.
Yeah.
I was done.
It was just the over the top craziness, hey?
It was stupid.
That's fair. That's fair.
Very fair.
It's one of those comedies that just leans so far into the stupid. Yeah,
I think you'd have to have some type of mental support to actually sit down and watch the whole thing.
Well, I don't know what that says about us.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've had to see it. I think I've seen it 3 times now preparing for this.
Oh my! Once was enough. I made it through the one.
No.
Perfect. So I feel like we know where this might be going, but when you were watching Super Troopers, what did you think of the representation of policing in the film?
I have never seen police work like that. Never. Ever.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, how about actually this is a little off script, but why don't you let us know a little bit of your experience in the police force?
All right. Well, I joined the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in 1976 and went through basic training at that time. And this is 6 years before the charter even came out. So it was a lot different than what police work is now. And then we had to deal with adapt to the charter and what it did for us. So all my policing has been in British Columbia. I started in Kimberley in 76 and then transferred to Golden in 78. And then Smithers in 84, and then in 89 I transferred to Vernon, and where I stayed till the rest of my service. So I retired in 2000 from the Mounted Police then.
Nice. Golden is such a beautiful place. That's a cool place to live.
It was. I had a lot of fun there. I was on highway patrol in Golden and in Smithers, and in Kimberley it was general duty, and Vernon, it was a wide variety of things. I was in general duty. I was in community policing. I was in municipal traffic. I did boat patrol. I taught a lot of uses of force classes, that sort of thing.
Nice. Perfect.
So was there anything in the movie at all that you could relate to in terms of your experience from what you saw?
How about the Stetson that the Super Troopers wore? It's kind of similar to ours.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's about it. And they had cars.
Well, at least they got something, I guess.
Oh my God, lads, that's bad.
Oh man. Well, one of the things that's a really common theme in the film is the kind of use of humor and pranks between officers. Was that ever something that you experienced on the job?
Yes, it was. I mean, you'd have to have a pretty good sense of humor to do the job in the first place, because it runs the gamut of emotions, and you can go from sheer boredom to sheer terror in a heartbeat. And then you have to deal with what your body has done to you, and what you've seen, and how to process all that, and how to deal with the emotions, and especially the adrenaline that comes from it. So yeah, we played pranks on each other, used comedy, uh, and the longer you were in, the blacker the humor became.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be kind of a theme we're hearing for a lot of the jobs that have a tougher toll, is that the humor just becomes darker and darker
Well,
throughout the career, which is understandable.
it gets downright black.
Yeah.
Are there any pranks or scenarios that you'd be willing to share? The stories you might have of sometimes on the force
Well,
you guys were
I
messing
told
around?
Ryan of one. I was running radar between Vernon and Oyama, and usually in the summer that's a very busy stretch of road. This was before they put the crash cushion in between, so you could turn around and chase people as you will. And this one station wagon came floating through my radar beam, which I went after. As I pulled in behind it, I could see it was a family. I think there was four kids in the back and the dog, and then their mom and dad up front. And it was like those cartoons you see where they have the tornadoes in the back seat, and they're all going all over the place. The dog's in there too, and the dog's head comes out the window and out the other side, and all this other stuff. And then, so as I walked up to the car, like I'm 6'4", and all the guy could see was my Sam Brown belt. And so out of the nether region, so he hears, I see your driver's license, vehicle registration, please. But in observing the vehicle, I can see this guy is totally stressed. I mean, he got stopped for speeding in the first place, and then there's all this activity going on in the background. So if you have ever seen those Chinese glasses, they're shaped like this, and they're
Right.
Yeah.
rimmed, and they're about that thick lenses. I happen to have one in my patrol jacket pocket, so he hands out his driver's license registration. So I put those glasses on, and I take his driver's license, and I put it in front of my face like this, and I go right into his face, about this far from his face, and said, "Is this you?" Well, his wife is just dying laughing, and he's looking at her, "Shut up, shut up." Well, she couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm looking at this guy. I said, I see you have enough problems in your world right now. How about you keep it under subsonic speed? Keep it back of stuff, and off you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
we like to throw humor in where we could.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really funny.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely I think he needed that in that moment, so I'm sure he appreciated it.
Something to talk about.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things that kind of happens in the film a bunch is people pushing back against their supervisors. Is that something that would happen in the police force? And do you think that they accurately showed kind of the hierarchy in a police force at all in the film?
No, not at all. I mean, there's times where we would the conflict does arise in any type of a structure like that. So
Hmm.
it's Mounted Police is a paramilitary organization, or it was. It was when I was there. Let's put it that way. I'm not really sure what it is right now. No, I've been retired now for 26 years, so I would imagine a lot has changed. But at the time we had corporals, sergeants, that sort of thing, and it was first thing you were taught right out of the academy is you never went outside the chain of command. So if you had a boss that you had conflict with, you'd have to deal with that one way or another. And then you could always, if there was just strictly no resolution, just say, well, to his face, I'm going above your head,
Yeah.
and go to the next level. But no, we didn't do anything like what they showed in that movie. I mean, aside from having our own morals and our own code of conduct, that would be the easiest way of losing your job in a heartbeat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
So people say you have rights. Well, with those rights, you also have responsibilities. So we looked at our responsibilities as well.
Yeah.
And one of the
Yeah,
responsibilities was to remain civil.
yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of what they do in the film is it's not even borderline illegal. I think they just do a lot
It's
of
totally
illegal
over
stuff.
the top.
Perfect.
Were there any hazings of like rookies that would come into the force? Like if a new guy came on, would you guys haze him a bit or do anything like that?
Well, you're yes, there was back then when we would do things, but there were more more of a joke type thing. Like my brother, who was also the mounted police, told me that his detachment, they would have a midnight mail drop, and so the newest recruit coming in would have to set up the police cars in a sort of a cross, and he would stand in the middle of it with two flares, signaling like this, and the lights on the police cars were going around, and someone would get up on the roof of the detachment and would get ready with a bag, and they would guide this over the radio. They would guide this chopper or plane in and
Wow.
throw the bag off the roof and tell the guy to go get it, stuff like that. And he'd come in all excited. Oh, I got it.
That's so elaborate. I feel like that could have been in Super
Well,
Troopers.
yeah, the more you put into it, the more fun it was.
Yeah.
But stuff like you see on war movies and stuff like that. No, we didn't go to that.
Yeah.
It was a tradition in training that if you're the last guy in for the making up of the troop, there was 32 guys in a troop. If you're the last guy in, you got a shower.
Yeah.
I mean, we do stuff like that, but that was about it.
Nice. Sweet. The film is also obviously it's set in the U.S., so there's a little bit of differences there. What kinds of differences do you know of between U.S. policing that may have been shown in the film, even just in the structure, and Canadian policing?
Well, the United States has multi-level police service with jurisdictions that overlap. For example, they'd have your city police, and then there'd be your county police, then you'd be your state police, and then be your federal police. So you go that gambit, and the jurisdictions always overlapped, and the higher you went, the more authority you had, so to speak. Right. Enforcing the law is enforcing law. So in Canada, all the provinces except Ontario, Quebec, basically have the RCMP as a contract. So the RCMP would be policing towns, cities, and then each province is divided up into a division and a subdivision. So in my day, when I first started, I was in Nelson subdivision, and that was the East and West Kootenays. I understand now they're up into districts. So just when I left the force, we were then the Southeast District, which was the if you use Kamloops per se, and then Stan straight line Trans Canada, and then south to the border, that was the Southeast District. Right. So that's how we've changed, but that's just for administration of the police. Basically, the mounted police did the all the things that the Americans do. So we'd be the city police, the county police, we're the provincial police. We're also the federal police. We enforced all the federal statutes.
Oh yeah.
So basically, the Mounties did everything.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Lower Mainland has their own city police, and you saw recently with the formation of Surrey City Police. That was at the time was the Mounted Police's biggest detachment. So that's all flipped over to city police now, and those guys that wish to stayed, and the rest of them were absorbed into the rest of the province.
Yeah, that seemed like a pretty a pretty big ordeal for the city of
Mhm.
Surrey for sure.
Yeah, because
That's a
they
big step to take.
it's not as big as you think. It's kind of
Yeah.
it'd be a change of administration, but I mean the city is paying for most of the policing anyway.
Yeah.
So rather than giving it to the government of Canada, they're now keeping it internal and with their own police force. So
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, maybe we're moving to a slightly more not American system, but a little bit less RCMP in BC potentially, or do you think
maybe,
it's just going to be the
maybe,
larger centers?
yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, very interesting. Yeah,
Very interesting.
I've always kind of wondered the differences because I mean I'm obviously not very familiar with American policing, but yeah, thank
Well, if
you
you
for
watch Super Troopers, you are.
There's a lot of downtime depicted in the film with these guys. Do you feel like you had downtime quite often in the force, or do you feel like you were pretty much on the go
Well,
all
it
the
depends
time?
what you mean by downtime. You mean like away from work,
Or just like
just
hanging
not?
out at work? Like there's a lot of like parked cars, them just hanging out in the police
Yeah, no.
patrols as on the highway waiting for something to happen. Was there a lot of that?
Well, we'd work radar at that time. I mean, we were at the end of the stationary radar and moving radar was coming in, and I would imagine that has gotten quite sophisticated from when I used it. Like my first radar set was a box with a needle on it and a radar head that was about this big hanging off the window, and you'd watch the car come in, and then you'd watch the machine, and then you'd kind of trap the needle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was called a Stevenson radar set. That was pretty high tech at the time. And then we went to the more of electronic radars, moving radars and such. Doppler radar was just coming out in '78 for us in BC, so we had to go on a specific course for that. That wasn't even offered by the Mounted Police at the time.
Oh wow.
To use moving radar, in which driving along, it would calculate what the vehicle's doing and subtract it from the vehicle coming at you, type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'd be a lot of time we'd sit on the side of the road just to work radars, we'd say. In the detachment, if you were in the detachment working your files, you were in the detachment working your files. But if you had nothing to do, the detachment commander or your shift boss would be kicking your ass out onto the road. So you getting nothing done here, go out and see what you can find.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I kind of thought that the film was maybe being a little bit exaggerated with that.
But more along the lines of unrealistic, but
yeah. Perfect. How would you say the film is at portraying interactions with the public as a police officer?
one word: exaggerated. Extremely exaggerated. That'd be two words. I have no doubt scenarios like that took place. The thing is that we were accountable. So if we were over the top, for example, and the people came in, and as was their right, to come in and complain about what we were doing, I mean, we were held accountable almost immediately, because you'd be brought in. So I got this complaint. What's the story behind it? And then you'd hash it out there.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I understand they have a lot of other neutral or external agencies that look after that sort of thing. When I was in, we looked after it locally.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Would you say there was ever kind of a what's the word, like a comic, like did you ever develop a relationship with people in the community as a police officer?
That was one of our primary goals.
Yeah.
Is that you have to know the town you're working in. That was the whole philosophy behind community policing, is to get to know who they are, and who so they could know who we were. And that was it's quite an integral part of policing, because you police at the will of the people, as you're probably seeing what happens in the United States right now. when the police force loses that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's a balance you have to work. You can't have the arrogance again like you see in the States and police, because you won't last. Um, if you were an exceptionally bad individual and were rude, extremely rude and physical with people, they would get even.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and you can investigate all you want. There will be nothing you can find.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of actually leads into my next question here. Was in the film, again, it's set in the U.S. Are there any cultural differences within police forces in the U.S. and Canada that you've noticed? And I know the
Referring
film's
to
not
Canada,
exactly
U.S. or
Yeah.
cultures in Canadian?
between Canada and the U.S. because the film's set in Canada, it's set in the U.S., which obviously feels very different from Canada. So I was wondering if there's any cultural differences there that you picked up on.
Yeah, the culture itself, the difference between Canadian, Canada, and U.S. is the primary difference.
Yeah.
We are not. I mean, you've had your own experiences with Americans, and you've developed your own ideas and impressions from that, and that'd be the same. We do have intercountry cooperation, but with regards to what you're questioning about as far as the film goes, absolutely not. You know,
Yeah, the second film takes it a step further.
I
And
wouldn't even want to see what that was.
Yeah, they actually send Americans to Canada because there's some border dispute going on. So they're policing the same place together.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just gets insane. You wouldn't like that one either.
Will you be seeing the third one coming out this year?
Super Troopers 3?
It's coming out this year. Yeah.
Well, enjoy it.
From what you saw with the uniforms and the vehicles and the tools used in the movie, how do you feel that they depicted those in the film with how you guys actually operated?
Vehicles, uniforms, etc. The only difference between Americans and us is the Americans put their badge on their shirt. We don't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We don't. That's everything else was pretty much the same. We had cars, we had radars, we had weapons, we had most of my time we had revolvers and a shotgun in the car, as what they used in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It sounds like that might be the only thing they got right in the film.
Well, the only thing similar.
Yeah.
Is there a reasoning for the badge being placed where it's placed, or
No idea why they do that. My badge was in my pocket. Anybody could see it if they wanted. If they asked to see it, I just pull it out and show them. But no, we don't wear. It's a nice shiny target, and
Yeah, that's fair.
you don't want that.
that's a good point.
Nice. Do you think that movies like Super Troopers that take a more comedic approach help the public relate with the police force, or do you think it just creates a divide?
I don't think it creates anything. I think all it is humor, and it's a satire on police force, which is fine. I mean, we satirize ourselves as well, not to that extent. I don't think it creates anything. It might give a naive person a misguided impression of what's going on in the world, but no, I don't think all of that is comedy.
Yeah,
that's for a laugh.
Do you find anything offensive about it, or is it pretty easy to brush off?
Like I said, I had a hard time watching it because it's just stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of over the top humor. I suppose if I was in a different frame of mind, or if I had different life experiences, it might be funny. I saw it for what it was, and yeah, okay, spoof the police force if you want. I mean, you could take whatever the subject was and change it with whatever.
Yeah.
and would work.
Yeah. Yeah, that group actually, they made a number of films that were like that. Like they have one about a restaurant. It's the same. They just spoof the
Mhm.
the workplace and yeah.
Yep.
But perfect. That's actually I really like your answer for that. It's I think it can be easy to get, caught up in how these things affect people when the reality is it is just comedy. Is it really going to affect
Yeah.
that many people? Yeah, I think you're bang on there.
Yeah.
Um, you've kind of addressed this moment already, but near the beginning of the movie, there's a faked car chase
Mhm.
where one of the officers pretends to be a guy on the run and starts a whole police chase to prank the rookie. I think it was
Yeah.
something like that. Realistic.
Not on anyone's lifetime. A high-speed chase is such a dangerous thing to begin with, and there's far too many variables in there. I mean, I've had a number of high-speed chases, but they've always been on the highway. For example, in Golden, between Golden and Rogers Pass, you have wide open highway, you have traffic, but you don't. Nothing like that would actually occur at those speeds in a city. And now it's even more controlled. So you'll initiate or advise that you're now in a chase, and the detachment will ask for some conditions, and they'll cut it off. And I think they even have they've definitely changed the rules on that. I'm not familiar with what's current, so I won't comment on it. But in my time, as long as it was safe, you could do it.
Yeah.
But you were monitored by the detachment, and you were guided by the detachment. And again, you had to obey orders.
Yeah.
The detachment commander says, stop the chase, you stop the chase.
What's the experience of a high-speed chase like? Like, what's going through your mind? What's the adrenaline like?
The adrenaline is an absolute dump. For example, my chases were usually Canada-wide warrants. So, you've got a bad guy there that's wanted Canada-wide, and he's running from you. So it's not so much it's to affect the arrest for sure. But I mean, when this driving starts getting to the point where it's endangering others, you just back right off. You got the car, you got the license plate, you got the description of the car. You can tell how many occupants are in it. You don't know who's in it, but you have a description. And in that scenario, there were a few roads that could branch off the Trans-Canada. So you had to go somewhere. And when you initiate a chase like that, the neighboring detachments also advise, so they're coming towards you. So yeah, your focus becomes extremely intent, and you're ensuring that you're doing, the checklist is running through your head. You're doing everything as what you're supposed to, but you're focused on getting that person until you hear the words, "You're done," or "back off," or whatever. And then that point, everything stops, and you go.
What would be some situations that would cause them to have you back off? Like, would it just be high populated traffic lanes?
Yeah, well, you figure, let's say downtown Kamloops on Victoria at 150 kilometers an hour.
Right.
Yeah, no, that would never happen.
And
Yeah.
how do you train for those kinds of situations?
Well, the force started developing training for it, driving courses. We had an intensive course in depot, which are driving. We had a number of, I think it was 10 or 12 drives that we had to do. Not just the laws, but also actual driving experience. So they had to, as with everything with the mounted police, there was the right way, the wrong way, and the RCMP way. So they trained you to the RCMP way, and so you drove accordingly. And it was all low speed stuff. And then, from my experience in the late '70s, they came up with an advanced driver course, which was starting to teach us the high speed stuff. and how to handle the car at higher speeds. And so we did that. I also was a motorcycle cop, so I had that training as well, which is same thing except on a motorcycle.
Mhm.
It's just so it's experience of what you were doing and driving, and then it was also your experience in law enforcement as you went along. First couple of years you're in a police world, you're kind of clueless. Like you've been trained with the laws when you come to your province. You learn the provincial stats, and then you build the experience of dealing with in that situation. It's a little different now because we had to have they a university degree, so it wasn't something coming right out of high school. I was 20 years old when I became a Mountie, and I had just finished high school, and that was predominantly what most of the members were. They were looking for big and strong, and smart, but mostly big and strong. And anybody over 6 foot usually went north, Prince George or anything like that, to deal with the environment up there. But now it's more. In fact, one of my very good friends here, his son just went into training. He's been in 3 weeks now, and him telling me what he's gone through is completely different from what I went through.
Yeah.
Like we weren't allowed to driving, for example. We weren't allowed to go out in the public in a police car by ourselves. We always had to have a corporal with us. The two of them are now with GPS doing kind of a scavenger hunt type of thing through the city of Regina. Like they're out there. So there's the two recruits, there are two cadets, I guess they call them now, in the car doing their drives and doing their scavenger hunt, I guess would be the best way of putting it. They have certain places they have to go and check in and such. But yeah, it's completely different. And he was telling me that it's more physical fitness. For example, we had those days where we would start with first thing in the morning would be PT, physical training, and then we go to self-defense. And these classes are about an hour long. And we go to self-defense, and then we go to swimming, and then we go to drill. So you have an entire morning of intense physicals. And then in the afternoon, they would put you in a class like law and English, and not so much typing. It was completely opposite in the afternoon. And we had 4 classes in the afternoon as well. So you'd have this intense morning and then this mental afternoon. And I think they were trying to see if we could stay awake or something like this, because we were beat. Aside from the physicals, you're up at 6 in the morning. You have to have your morning duties done before you went for breakfast, and then you would go for breakfast, and you'd be lined. And everywhere you went, you lined up as a troop. So there's 32 of you in a formation, and you marched. Actually, you ran for the first 7 weeks. It took 7 weeks for us to get our marching orders. So you ran everywhere. And then once you get your marching orders, then you also got to change your uniform. So if you can figure or picture when we started a uniform that looked like an army uniform, we call them fatigues. Uniform shirt, the proper uniform shirt of the day, which was a tan colored shirt. And then 7 weeks, we got the long blues, which is the pants with the yellow stripes. Then we started marching. And we only marched at the behest of the drill department. If we ever screwed up, the drill would take our marching orders away, and then we were running again. So they have a book, and you have certain criteria you have to meet. And if you can do physical training, for example, they don't have swimming. What he says, I think the pool's there for something, but I'm not sure what. But they have a book, and if you meet these standards, then that's what you have to do. So if you're really good aerobically, and you fit a level 1, for example, you don't have to run. You just do what you have to do to maintain this level. But if you're lacking in weights, then you would have so many exercises and such you have to do for your weight training to get up to their standard. Then I think they have 4 tests a year, if I remember correctly. Not a year, 4 tests in their 6-month period that they have to make the standard. If you don't make the standard, then you're gone.
Wow.
Everything was done as a troop. So the 32 of us were very close in training. You could think whatever you wanted of your troop mate, but nobody else could, because we'd all defend that individual.
Mm-hmm.
So we had halfway things changed a bit. It wasn't so much the heavy downward force that they would do as far as what you would think of military training. That sort of eased up, and then you started operating on your own within the confines, because usually about halfway they have remolded you in the RCMP way, and so you carry on. I have no idea what's happening in depot now. I know they come out and I see them on the street. They look a lot smaller than us. and they're definitely a lot younger. So. I said to a few of the guys I used to work with, I said, I wonder if their mummies know that they're playing policemen, things like that. Yeah, it is a different philosophy. We were more of the grunt style of policing. They're more of the psychological style.
Nice.
Nowadays.
Yeah. Something you mentioned that I honestly didn't even consider is the swimming training. That makes perfect sense now that you've said it. Are all police officers required to have a certain level of swimming?
I really honestly don't know. I would imagine you have to have something to go into training, but we had one non-swimmer in our troop. Mm-hmm. Our first day in the pool, they threw him in the deep end, and he went down for the third count, and the corporal standing on the side of the pool with his arms folded like this. He's looking down, and all he sees is bubbles coming up, and he says, sakes, and turns around and grabs a hook off the side of the wall and pulls him up, brings him on, gives him a few pumps in the back, and tells him to get better. At the end of training, he could swim a length.
Nice.
Wow.
The rest of us had our bronze medallions, but he could swim a length, so there was something to that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Crazy. You mentioned like some teamwork and team partnerships in the movie. I don't know if you got to that part. There's a major crime that they're all investigating, and they all work as a team to do it. There's also some that go undercover to investigate this crime. When you were investigating major crimes, if you investigated major crimes, would you do it as a team? And was there any undercover work involved with what you worked on?
Everything's always done in teams. I was all uniform, so I was never in general investigation section, which is at my time GIS, which was the plainclothes version, and then that went everywhere. So federal drugs, for example, drug squads and stuff like that, they were all undercover, and they had undercover teams in their undercover team. So there was a lot of this type of stuff going on, and we were always instructed that if you see anybody that you know in a strange place or in your place doing strange things, just ignore them, because it's quite often they were probably undercover at the time and doing something. So it was always done in teams, and high stakes crimes were usually done by the local GIS and augmented with the either subdivision or division GIS sections. They would use us uniform types as the eyes and ears on the street. They did the actual work, but it was all in all, it's all teamwork.
Nice.
I had one instance in Golden, which back in the 70s, there was a young lady that was kidnapped from a car rental place, and later found to be murdered. And I was working the road at the time, and we had these little pieces or little forms that we'd fill in on our stops, in which we listed the car and who was in the vehicle and the license plate number, the VIN number of the car, and everything we could as far as that one stop, and we'd file it in. This is before computers. Right. So it would be filed into the division in Vancouver, the crime index section. And it was my card that helped break that case. So, I mean, even if you don't think you're working on a team, you're working on a team.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's all encompassing.
All right, so moving on, we have this little segment we call Feasible or Flimsy. I feel like this is going to be a very quick segment for this one. Basically, we have a couple of situations that happen in the film that we have little debates over whether they could actually happen or not. So we'd like to ask those who are professionals to let us know if these are in fact feasible, they could happen, or flimsy, would never happen. And they're meant to be more fun questions than serious questions. So the first one we have is there's a moment in the film where a politician comes and visits the precinct, and they pose for a photo, and he asks to hold a gun in the photo, and they willingly give him one. Do you think this would be feasible or flimsy?
Flimsy.
Yeah. I would think so, and I'm glad.
Do you think a politician would ever ask the question?
Ask the question to hold a gun?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
They're a little smarter than that, probably.
Well, it's a different it's a different mindset.
Yeah, that's very true. This is the States in the movie.
True.
There's
Mind you, we did set up bosses like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was on the emergency response team in a place, and one of our weapons was an M16. And so we just got in a new ERT commander, and he was coming in to see what we do. So we taken this M16, we put a bipod on it. We had have you ever heard of a Laws rocket? It's the lock that breaks apart like this, and then they shoot an individual rocket. Well, we had a casing for one of those. We taped it on the bottom of the gun, and then put a mag in it, and then taped a couple other mags on it, put a scope on this thing. And I said, he comes in, he says, "What's that?" He says, "Well, that's our usual house breaking instrument." And he looks at it and says, "Really?"
That's good.
It is.
There's a moment where they allow a kid to go on a ride along with them on a high-speed chase.
High-speed chase, no, but yes, we had kids riding along.
Okay.
Especially during the I'm not sure if Kamloops has it, but Vernon has the youth academy, RCMP Youth Academy. For a week, we had a group of 40 high school kids, and we put them through a version of the first week at depot, and then they would ride around in the cars.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like this is where you turn the movie off, but have taken an impounded or stolen vehicle out for a test drive.
Not us.
Yeah.
No.
I have no idea what other people would do, but I've never experienced that. Our thing with exhibits is pretty tight. I mean, when I first came out of training, I had 15-minute service, and I'd made a liquor seizure. And I asked the senior constable, "What do you do with this?" Because it was my first one. He says, "I'll just put it in the room." And that doesn't sound right. He says, yeah, just put it there. We'll look after it. I said, okay. And on Monday morning, the boss came in and said, "So who sees this stuff?" I said, "I did." "How many did you seize?" And I told him how many. He says, "There's one missing." I said, "There shouldn't be." He said, "Well, there's one missing. Go down to the liquor store and buy another one." And to make up the number.
Wow.
And case of beer is not cheap, especially when you're only making, a couple $100 a month. So yeah, it was a very, very early lesson. Like I say, within the first 2 weeks of my field training.
Yeah.
And exhibits are not treated lightly. There is for court, you need a chain of evidence. So seizing the car would mean that you'd fill in the form to seize it. You'd put stickers all over it. It would go to a spot where it'd be impounded. And to have one of my watchmates say, "Hey, I'm going to take this for a run." Hell no, you're not. So no, that's flimsy.
All right. Good to know. And the last one we have here is there's a couple of occasions where the guys go out to like shooting ranges and target practice with their own police issued guns and equipment. Would you guys ever go just for fun to shoot
All the
target
time.
practice? Yeah, with your own
All the time.
police
Yeah,
equipment?
with our issue stuff. Yeah, there's we don't have ranges. The RCMP does not have an RCMP range. So here in Vernon, we go out to the Lavington range all the time and practice. They were even generous enough to give us a box of shells to practice in a year.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And then also you can't with force weapons you have to use force ammo. You can't use reloads and things like that. So whatever you could scrounge, you would shoot. It's the only way you can maintain proficiency with your sidearm.
All right. Wow. So we're ended on a feasible.
On a feasible.
It's a feasible. Wow. I didn't think we were going to get one feasible, but that's awesome. That's great. So yeah, that wraps up this segment of feasible or flimsy. And Mitch, we just want to thank you so much for joining us for this. We do have to ask you to do two things. I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty quick things before you leave. The first is we need you to rate this movie Super Troopers on a recommendation scale, whether someone should watch it, a 1 to 10, a 1 being no one should watch it, a 10 being everyone should watch it, and also rate it on a 1 to 10 of realistic scale, 1 being completely unrealistic and 10 being the most realistic you could be. So let's start with recommendation. Would you recommend this movie to anybody?
-5.
Very fair. And I'm guessing the realism scale isn't going to be much further.
Zero.
Yeah. That's very fair. Yeah, this was quite the experience to watch.
Yeah,
That would be a way of putting it. Yep.
Yeah, I think we knew going in that this was not going to do well on the on the realism scale at the very least. Well, that's everything from us, but we do like to give you a bit of a chance here at the end of the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say directly to the community?
Actually, I think we've covered it very well in your podcast. The force is a very professional outfit and constantly changing for local environments. So, yeah, very professional people out there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all the service that you provided in the police force. We really do appreciate all the work that you've done to keep our community safe over the years, and we hope that you continue to enjoy your retirement.
I shall. Thank you much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll close her out. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. If you would like to interact with us at all on the line, if you will, online, you can find us on Facebook at Caves of Kamloops and on Instagram at cavesofkamloops.pod. And thank you very much for watching and listening again. I am Kyle Robertson.
I am Zach Milne.
Thank you. Adios.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, it is working. Thank you very much for coming. I'm actually going to pass this off immediately because I'm not the one who's supposed to start.
All right, guys, welcome to the screening of Super Troopers, brought to you by the Caves of Kamloops podcast, supported by TELUS STORYHIVE. My name is Zach. This is the co-host of the podcast, Kyle. And we want to thank you all for coming out. This podcast is to celebrate our community by putting a spotlight on our local working heroes. So this week we are celebrating our local police officers. This screening is also going to go along with a podcast episode that's going to come out next spring, where we will be sitting down with a police officer in the community, talking about the film and talking about their experience and how much they relate to the film. That'll be coming out again next spring on YouTube, Spotify, and it'll also be on TELUS Optic TV. So keep your eyes open for that.
So, excuse me, along with tonight's screening, we're also taking donations. Obviously, you guys have all donated or seen it for the, Canada Beyond the Blue, in support of their mission to provide free counseling to police officers, mainly related to PTSD and group treatment and therapy. So thank you very much, everybody. If you would like to donate by e-transfer or anything like that, instead of the cash box, that will be available after the screening, so feel free to come find one of us. And other than that, thank you everybody for coming and supporting. We really appreciate it. And one last thing I want to say is thank you to everyone at the Kamloops Film Society. They've been very supportive and very helpful getting these screenings going, and very helpful getting a concession all ready for us to come have some popcorn and watch a movie. So on that note, thank you again, and let's get going. Enjoy the show.